Hello, glad you're here. Happy that you want to delve in and get a little bit more nitty-gritty information about how to approach this assignment, the Marveling at Monsters collaborative presentation. And I'm going to walk you through how to find stuff and where to get to things, and hopefully to assist you with having even easier collaboration time and planning and preparation with your colleagues. So first and foremost, even if this isn't for our particular semester, this information will be useful for you with your class as well. So you want to you can find the assignment if you go straight to the module, but also if you go to assignments, you can access any of the assignments for the whole class. So you can show by date or by type. I prefer by type because I like to just have things grouped together, and then I can just scroll down to the collaborative presentation. As a reminder, in addition to your presentation, you're also going to want to submit your own peer evaluation. And for this peer evaluation, you'll see that you will want to complete this document. You can type it and upload it. But what you want to be sure is list every one of your group member names, and then you want to provide scores for all of these areas, and then provide some comments about why you are giving those scores. And then please don't forget to answer these two here, because you also get to evaluate your own contributions and what role you played in the collaboration. Now, the reason I do this is because it's good for you to think about how everyone contributed, the timeliness of communication, the preparation that everybody had when you met together or communicated online, whatever that is. And then this grade will be averaged into individual grades. If all of you grade each other in a way that you are all have all contributed equally, then you will all earn the same group grade. Otherwise, it might be individual grades. This is my way to try to inspire everybody to be conscientious and contribute earlier rather than later to this assignment. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the assignment. Here's what we're doing. I'm not going to read this through with you. You can do that on your own, but I also give you links to kind of go through what I just briefly showed you on your individual group sites. And now you've also got a rubric for how I will grade the entire group. And so what will happen is I'll watch your presentation, I'll fill this out, and then this will be the total points for the total group. And then depending upon those peer evaluations and how that weighs out, you may have the same grade that's listed here, or you may have a little bit of a different grade based off of that. So there's that for you to look at and consider. And so here we are with sort of what's the goal and the purpose. So here's the overview. So just one thing that I would encourage you to do is think about this presentation as sort of a spoken collaborative essay presentation. So maybe think about how you would approach the organization of this presentation as being very much like an essay. So you're going to need to have an introduction, and your introduction will introduce your topic, your monster, maybe share a little bit of how you came to the topic, what you want to say about it, and you and your group are going to be proving something here, right? Do you believe it? So is your monster a monster that benefits or harms society? And you might consider that the way it can benefit or harm is by how influential it is, how impactful it is on society. And so here are some ideas for you to consider about how you might think about the ways in which you think your monster harms or benefits society. And you can see that these ideas are very closely linked to all of the conversations that we've been having on VoiceThread, in written discussions, in your written essays, and also in other assignments and activities, and in the readings for the semester. So you can keep that in mind as you're going. Now, much like when you have an essay, you have an intro and you have a conclusion. You're going to want to have an introduction and a conclusion for your presentation too. And in that intro, in addition to introducing everybody in your group, the topic of your group, kind of how you're going to hook us in to your presentation, you also need your thesis statement that clearly states who your monster is, the harm or benefit, what you want to prove about it, what you want us to believe about it and agree with you on, and then that significance. Why does it matter that your monster harms or benefits? And then you'll go into the development. Now, this development, you can think of this section as being very much your body paragraphs. So this is where your evidence is going to be. And you're going to want to have transitions between speakers, just like we have transitions between paragraphs. And then each presenter, each member of your group should be speaking to a different element of the harms or the benefits of your monster. Now, you also want to be clear that in your collaboration with one another, that you're not repeating each other, that each of you are contributing something new to the discussion. So here you want to think about where and how your audience would be exposed to your monster. Is it through film, through TV, through music, through art, through popular culture, graphic novels, video games? Is it through literature? And you might imagine that the more prevalent your monster is throughout popular culture, the more influential it is and the more impact it might have on society, right? Then you want to think about the ways that your monster influences society. Now, this is going to be how that getting to that harms or benefits, right? And then as you're explaining the examples of the ways in which the monster influences society, you need specific examples to show what makes that so. How is it so? And then you need to also analyze and explain the effects of that monster's influence. So what are the examples? Explain those examples just like we are in body paragraphs, right? And then explain how those things are harmful or beneficial. And then you want to get, why does it matter? That significance portion, just like we've been doing all along with our essays. Now we just get to do it in a more verbal way. And then you want to explain why your overall perspective matters, the significance, right? Going back to your thesis statement. So in each element with each presenter, you're going to want to address some element of this, right? So you're going to want to think as a group about what you might want to prove, what things you could bring in to help support your argument and enhance your presentation, and then divvy up who's going to address what. And then you might, throughout this, what might be helpful is a brief timeline with highlights of your monster throughout time, right? If you're saying that your monster is very influential, creates harm or benefits, you might also want to address how the meaning or the influence might alter over time as society changes and grows and so on and so forth. You don't have to do that, but that might be one way to approach how you go about this presentation. The other thing is you want to be creative. You want to have fun. You want to have snippets from films as your example, from YouTube clips, whatever it is, images that you show. You are giving a presentation and you want it to be interactive. So think about the kinds of educational videos you watch. Think about the kinds of presentations online that you watch, and think about what engages you, and then you want to include that in your own presentation. Now, you're also going to want to be careful. You're only going 30 to 40 minutes, and at first you're going to think that's a real long time. I promise it's not. In fact, I have many students who have presented in the past who said, oh my gosh, 30 to 40 minutes wasn't even enough, especially when you have 3 or 4 people in your group. And if you divvy up the time that each of you are spending on the different parts, you can see how you can run out of time really quickly. So you really want to prepare. You don't just want to sit and just start talking, because you might, without any sort of real focus or goal or anything planned, because then you might run out of time. The other thing that you want to do is you don't want to just read something to us. You do want to, much like I'm doing here, if you have something for us to look at on the screen, that's lovely. But then you also want to be able to have your face and your voice showing so that we can see who's speaking, and we can kind of see that human touch and that engagement in that way as well. And if you need any resources, we have laptops, we have cameras, we have different things that you can use on campus. Just reach out to me and let me know if you need any assistance with borrowing some of that stuff. Now, the other thing is you want to engage your class in a discussion. So, and I'm here at include and engage your audience. Now, you want to remember that this is on, they're not going to be able to respond automatically, but you want to pose questions and somehow engage the interest of your audience, whether you have them take a poll or you have them sort of contemplate whether a little quiz, yes, no, or most effectively is you want to ask some open-ended, rhetorically strong questions about your monster, the topics you're addressing, to get your audience to think. Because don't forget, this presentation is going to be part of a larger voice thread discussion where other colleagues are going to be able to actually provide you responses to your questions, and then you're going to be able to listen to them, and then you're going to be able to respond to their responses. So you will have a little bit of a back and forth. It'll just be asynchronous. And then here are a couple of examples of how you might go about determining who's doing what, and how you might approach this this presentation, excuse me. And then you've got also some suggestions for visual rhetoric that I've already sort of touched on. And then I want you to see sort of these details. Each of you is going to be presenting. Each of you is responsible for your portion of the presentation. Now, when it comes to and you can sort of read through this on your own. When it comes to the execution, I've had groups get together and record everything on one Zoom together, and then save that and upload it either to YouTube and share the link with me, or to share the MP4 file with me. So I've also had students, after they've collaborated and discussed and broken everything up, then they've divvied up who's going to record which portions, including an intro and a conclusion. And then someone else in the group has received all of that and then put it into one cohesive recording that was uploaded. So you have a couple of ways that you can do this, and a few different resources. And also I'm here to assist if you have any questions. So just please be sure that this is part of that planning, right? And it's also part of the time. You need to allow yourselves ample time to do your own individual recordings, to get them together. And for whoever's going to be doing that, they need ample time to be able to do that technical portion. And then when you are, here are some of the resources that I have for you to help you with recordings, and to make it easier for you. But then you really need to allow yourself ample time to upload to Canvas, because it can take a long time to upload a 30 to 40 minute presentation recording. So you need to allow yourself a couple of hours before the assignment closes. And remember, there's not really a grace period because I need to be able to put all of these presentations into the VoiceThread and post it for everybody to have ample time to respond to it before the assignment closes. So here are some collaboration etiquette ideas about how you can work together, what sorts of media you might want to use, and then discussion questions, just a sort of reminder and overview about the things that you're going to want to do. And then please don't forget throughout, you want to be explaining how each person's part of the presentation relates to and supports the thesis statement, and then have a transition. You should know whose part of the presentation is going first, second, third, fourth, and maybe the person who's speaking can kind of say, and next we're going to move on to, and whatever that is. Or if you want to have the next person say, so you just heard about this from so-and-so, and now I'm Karina Evett, and I'm going to talk about this. So you want to also introduce yourself when it comes to your section so we know who you are as you're presenting. And then here are some student do's and don'ts. This I gathered from what other students have said. This is actual student feedback of how they encourage you to move forward with this. And then here are some of my final comments. I've heard positive things about this assignment from other students, and I can tell you that I'm always inspired and encouraged by the high level of presentation skill and thoughtfulness in the presentations that I have viewed, and I know that yours are going to be even as, if not more stellar than those I've seen in the past. As ever, please reach out to me if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, and I'll be more than happy to support you and offer you any resources I can. Happy planning, happy preparing, and happy presenting. I'll be in touch soon. Take care.